This ring is a cremation ring. This one. I don't know if you can see that, young person, Wrigley's dad. Can you see that ring on the? Can you zoom or no?
Yep, I can get it.
Okay. A buddy of mine was snorting pills and got a Fent. Didn't know it. Yeah. So that's what that one is. Cremation ring. Anyway.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah, me too.
When was it?
When? It was 3 years ago. Yeah, that hurts. Hurts every day. My best friend. Yeah. Well, you know, your guy that you know, I tell you anything, it goes to the grave. As another friend of mine says, in the shoe under the tongue. Do you know that the guy that you can just, your heart is his, and you talk about anything, you know, you dance to the Replacements together, you know, whatever. But yeah, so, and it's weird. I'll just tell this story real quick. I was on a plane that year, first class, no big deal. I travel so often. Tell me your name again, young man.
Mike.
I told Mike, I'm traveling in 52 weeks this year.
This show is sponsored by Open Recovery Addiction Help. Whether you're newly sober, in long-term sobriety, or even maybe looking to make a change in your life, Open Recovery offers 24/7 support right from your phone. It's anonymous and packed with tools to help you stay connected, stay accountable, and build the life you deserve. Download the Open Recovery Addiction Help app today and take the next step in your recovery journey.
So I fly first class, of course, you know, just because you can't do it otherwise. And this was 3 years ago after he passed, a couple months. And I saw these kids come on the plane. Anyone in their 20s, I call kids. And I saw them smile, so I knew they were fans of The Office or whatever, and I said hi. And then I was kind of sleeping halfway through the flight. And I feel someone touch my arm, and I wake up. I was like, "Oh, it's her." She goes, "I hate to bother you, but I sometimes." She goes, "I was back there praying for you." Number one, I'm like, "Wait a minute, why are you praying for me?"
Do I look that bad? No.
Exactly. I was back there praying for you, and she says, "I sometimes receive messages, and I got a message from who'd she say the name was?
From God?
No, it was Greg." I said, okay. She said, Greg says, I love you and I'm fine. I said, I'm sorry, but I don't know a Greg, but I appreciate you. She says, well, I don't know. I get messages, pretty clear message. And I was like, oh, it's Craig. Craig. Isn't that wild? I know. I didn't have the ring yet, but I would already contracted with the person, but it was great. I was like, wow. Now, you know, I to me, in terms of like ghosts, I think are trapped energy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But messages, like, well, there's no possible way she would have known anything. So whatever that means, we can get into that. But anyway.
How long prior did Craig die?
3 months, maybe 4. July. That was July, April, May, June, 4 months. Yeah. So who knows? Anyway, sorry to co-opt. Love those shoes, but I'm all over the place, Mike. Yes. So you were there. You're like, what am I going to? Then you start the podcast. Then it lights up.
December of 2024, it lights up, and then I had a couple episodes go viral after that. I had 1 million streams in January.
Now eyes are on you. Okay.
And I'm starting to build this community. So it's all stories of adversity. Probably 80 to 85% of my audience, of my guests are in recovery. So I just celebrated it. I'm coming up on 7.5 years sober. Congrats. So and then Spotify reached out to me about 1.5 months ago and signed me. Crazy. And
no, it's not crazy. It's as it should be.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. And
it's of service too. That's the thing. That's why there you go. Yeah.
One of the most rewarding things is when someone reaches out and they say, okay, I have 25 days sober today. I started watching your podcast day one. And this guest who spoke about this really encouraged me and pushed me to get sober.
Okay. Question. Can people, your episode's an hour long?
About an hour and 15.
Can I watch an episode and that substitutes for a meeting?
Well, they say one or more alcoholics or recovering addicts. And since COVID now, and now that they put it on digitally, it counts as a meeting.
Thank you. So I can do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As long as there's a group chat.
Is there?
There is not.
Are you saying that because are you in sober? Are you in sobriety? Then you can't comment on this.
No, exactly. He
Great.
doesn't count.
So that will serve as a meeting.
It counts. Yes. You could tell your sponsor that you went to a meeting today.
Okay.
I got you.
I love that because look. Okay, we'll talk. Do you want to talk about meetings or not?
Yeah, of course.
I want you to get the interview. I'm not going to co-op things. I would prefer that to a meeting. Here's I don't know. I don't want to discourage anybody. I'm not going to say it.
No, say it. Say it, please.
You've got to find your right meeting, as you know. Got to find the right meeting. I often get a bit tired when it becomes therapy for people, and some meetings don't time. So when people in a meeting, people will share, and sometimes they have a timer. So when people share about their struggle that week or whatever they're having in that moment, sometimes meetings will time it, and there's a timer, and it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And, people can't stop talking. And a lot of times it becomes therapy for them that week. And I'm not sure that's the best use of my time. Now, a lot of people get a lot out of that. We're hearing other people have problems too, right? But for me, I love the book, right? And there's meetings where you just read the book and then you share based on what was just read in the book.
Solution.
But you had to find your meeting. Yeah. Right. But sometimes you just go to a meeting, you're like, this is what this is going to be today.
So there is this girl that comes to my home group. She comes in 10 minutes late every time, and she leaves 10 minutes early, and she always shares.
No.
And she shares about her day and how her dog went to the bathroom on the rug. She uses it more so as therapy, like you're talking about. Yeah. And of course, I call my sponsor and I'm complaining all the time. This, blah, 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 blah. Because as an alcoholic, that bothers me. Things like that really piss me off.
Triggers, we say.
Yes, it triggers me. And he goes, well, that's a great way for you to practice patience, love, and tolerance. I fired my sponsor and got a new one. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm still with that sponsor.
He finds out on the podcast.
Yeah. So, Dave, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You played a huge part of my childhood. Anchorman 1 and 2, The Office. It is an absolute pleasure. It's a privilege to have you on here, and I appreciate you taking the trip out. And
I'm here. I'm in town. I got back yesterday. Trip out. You're the one that took the trip.
Yeah. For you, absolutely.
Well, that's very sweet.
And a few others.
Okay, good. You're not going to make one. Yeah, there's plenty of sober people here. Yeah.
You were just in San Antonio.
Yes, I was this last weekend. I chose Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah.
How many shows do you do in one day?
Usually it's 2. I'd like to do, I've got 2 different shows. I do stand-up, and then we also do this thing called Office Trivia, hosted by the real Todd Packer, which people love because, as we know, people are crazy for The Office. So we added that to our weekend 3 years ago. Craig was there the first time we did it, right? And so we make that part of the offering. It's more money. I've got 5 kids. I'm like, if I'm out on the road, I'm going to monetize it. So the tough day is often Saturday when we'll do a 4:00 office trivia followed by 2 stand-up shows that night. That can be kind of rough, but it's a blessing, right? Anybody that comes out to see you, that's grace. So anyway, that's the toughest day. But I like doing it on Thursday because Rob had said, Rob and I have been touring together for 8 years. Rob is my opener, and he's the one that came up with the office trivia idea. A lot of times our audience our numbers will suffer on a Saturday afternoon at 4 because we have a lot of parents. Parents have stuff to do on Saturday afternoons with their kids. Soccer, judo, whatever, right? And then, of course, as we get deeper into the fall, Saturday afternoon is reserved for college football. Yeah, so that's tough. So I'm trying to get all clubs to go to Thursday night because people love doing trivia during the week. So anyway, yeah. So I had 5 this weekend.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. You're from Missouri.
Yes.
And you had 5 siblings?
Correct. Yeah.
What was growing up like?
Well, there's chaos with 6 kids. Very rigid Catholic family. I would say my parents' philosophy for life was Catholicism, which is often the case when you're Catholic. My mother is one of 11 kids. Out of those 11, there are 2 priests and 2 nuns. Yeah. My father's family had 8 kids. Now, these are hardworking Midwesterners that are farmers. And you work, like I started working for my dad when I was 7 years old. He had a manufacturing plant where he manufactured livestock trailers for turkeys. If you've ever seen turkeys go down the road on 40-foot flatbed trailers, a good chance they're made there in Tipton, Missouri. So I started working for my dad when I was 7 years old. So, yeah. And, there's resentment there, right? But I'll tell you this, I've never drawn an unemployment check in my life.
Yeah. Always had the cash flow coming in. Yeah.
Well, you're working. I'm good. I won't be out of a job.
Yeah, of course.
Look, I'm doing stand-up now. I started doing that when I had my 5th kid. And because I thought I could never not have a job. And so that's up to me. I can create that job and go do it. God bless all the actors who are looking for work right now. But I'm so happy that I decided to be proactive. Like, I'm going to create my job. I will never be out of a job.
Yeah.
You can go book a show.
You were taught a very strong work ethic at a very young age.
True.
So did you turn that resentment with your father into once you started
into booze? Yeah.
Well, once you put the booze down, then you saw obviously the positive to that work ethic that
I never put it down. I mean, I have now, but I never did for years. Dude, I drank for 50 years. Yeah. So as I've incorporated my sobriety into my shows now, which does another thing. It keeps you sober, right? You can't go preach sobriety on stage and then have a drink because someone's going, what, hey.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Right.
Discrepancy.
I did a show a couple weeks or whatever, a month ago, let's say, I forget exactly what I was. And I do for the office trivia, I do a meet and greet. And some guy goes, let's go have a beer. I said, I'm sober. He goes, can I say bullshit?
You can say whatever you want.
Bullshit. I saw you drinking on stage. I said, he goes, you're drinking a Heineken. I said, that was a Perrier. No, that was a Heineken. I said, sir, why would I lie? That's a Perrier. Plus the other part is, you're not the type of person I'm going to hang out with. But anyway, yeah. So, the only, you've had probably non-alcoholic beers.
I have not in sobriety, but I have.
And they're just not worth it. And
no.
So sometimes I don't mind the culture of sitting, if I'm in an airport and I feel like just sitting at the bar and having a whatever non-alcoholic drink, just for whatever. But it's kind of, there's only a couple good ones. I was an IPA guy. So there's a couple good ones that are that, but I find I don't finish it, because who cares? Sparkling water will give you that little, carbonation you want in the back of your throat.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So you're working for your father.
Yes.
You go into, let's fast forward to high school. Now, did you
Still working for my dad.
Still working for dad. From an identity standpoint, you had what? 5 siblings. Yep. There were 6 kids. Yep. Was it tough with identity going into as you got older?
That's an interesting question. That's a great question. No, I created mine. I was forced to, because I knew what I knew was I don't identify with what's going on here. Wow, great question. Are you a philosopher?
No, we're going to get
speaking with Eckhart Tolle right now.
We're going to get to the root of your alcoholism.
Right, I love it.
Let's go,
dude. I'm pretty sure
we're doing a 4th step, right? A 5th step, actually, right now.
So I realized in 6th grade, 5th, 6th grade, I don't belong here. Now, I love these people, but we're just not the same. Like the operating system, the software they're trying to put into my hard drive ain't working, right? That's the way I look at it. Like, you're trying to put the Catholic software in, and it doesn't work for me. And I was intellectually curious. I was different than the rest of the people in my family. I rebelled against all of their rules just because I felt like this isn't fair. I didn't realize, I didn't have that language then, but they weren't seeing me. They didn't get me at all. I was very different. They were threatening me with military school since I was 11. And I remember in my mind thinking, please send me to military school, because then I'm going to go learn guitar and start a rock band. So
how were you different from your siblings?
I just thought differently. I looked at the world differently. I just knew there was more out there. So I'll give you an example. I've said this before, but when I was 10 years old, I'm from a town of 2,000 people. So I don't have a lot of people like me at all.
Yeah.
And I was 10 years old. I walked around the west side of my house, and I remember thinking, I can see it now, I'm leaving. I had to move to a big city. I'm going to miss my family, but I have to go. Right now, by the time I was 13, I knew I was going to be on Saturday Night Live, because my parents were very strict with what we could watch. They'd go out dancing on Saturday nights. Thank God I had to watch my younger 3 siblings, and I was mean to them. I apologize. I've said it before, but I remember watching SNL. And it just charged me so much. And then one night after SNL, Monty Python and the Holy Grail came on. And I could not believe what I was watching. It was the greatest thing I'd ever seen in my life. The smartest comedy. And I was just like, that's it. I'm doing that. And so I decided then when I was 13, I'm going to be on Saturday Night Live. I didn't tell anybody because you don't tell people in small town your dreams. And I remember standing within that year, standing at the back tree, looking west as the sun was setting, with my arm on a tree, looking to my destiny, like I'm going.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen.
So you graduate high school and then you go to Chicago.
Well, no, I went to so my parents, I had to go to a Catholic college for 2 years. That was the rule. You can either go to Benedictine College, and that's just in Kansas for 2 years at least, or you can go to community college in Sedalia, Missouri. So I went there, and I was a poli-sci major because I knew my parents I couldn't have said I was going to be a theater major. They wouldn't have paid for it probably.
Yeah.
We didn't discuss it, but I also had an interest in politics and I thought maybe I could go help people. I was probably looking for a stage. Now remember, this is before the internet and there weren't a ton of books in my area or realm where I could find out what an actor does. I didn't look for them. I did some, there was one play a year. I didn't have anybody there to be a mentor going, Dave, I think I know what you wanted. It was one of those things. So I think I was looking for a stage when I went into political science. And then after a couple of years, like, oh, you're not out to help people in politics, right? You realize that? Because I was naive. So I quit going to classes, and then I was no longer eligible to go. So the next year I went to the University of Missouri, and then I basically dropped out, and I thought, boy, am I going to be in trouble? My dad said, well, Dave, I don't know what you want to do, but I don't think you want to go to school. That was it. I was like, wow. So I bought the car I was driving, which was his, from him, and then I worked 3 jobs, and then I knew I was Second City. By this time, I'd read a ton of books about Saturday Night Live and Second City, and I knew that's where I had to go. So I visited. I saw that they taught classes, and then I made a plan to go back and take classes. I took a 2-week concentrated course in Chicago one summer. I'm like, okay, then I went home and I saved my money and went back there. Do you want to hear about the cocaine bust at that point?
Of course.
So stupid. Well, of all the times you got these messages to stop doing what you're doing, and you don't, right? Hey, you're close to the right path, but you're in the ditch. You're going down the highway at the same speed everybody else is, but you're in the effing ditch, boy. Get out of the ditch. So, I'm going 100 miles an hour down a ditch. So I had, a bunch of us had done some blow, like, the drug dealer back then would give you a free hit of Coke.
Get you hooked.
Yep. Then ask if you want to buy some. So he had a bullet he sold me, and I had done it that night. It was graduation at the University of Missouri. A bunch of us were at a party, and I threw it in my desk drawer, not thinking anything of it. Then my former roommate, he was trying to grow marijuana in the basement, and the landlord's exterminator was a former police officer and called the cops on us. There were 20 cars. This is Columbia, Missouri. So stupid. And they asked if they could search my room. Now, they didn't have a warrant for my room. I didn't really understand all this stuff. I said, sure, there's nothing in there in my mind.
You forgot about it.
Of course. They opened my desk drawer. What's this? I'm like, nothing. There's nothing in there. It's empty except for dust. And any other good Coke user would have said, why did you put water on that and hit it, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's whatever. So that was my first brush with the law,
Were you actively doing drugs though at this point, or just drinking?
Drinking mostly, but doing drugs. Like let's see. Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly is like you said, a rejection of what I'd been going through as a kid. Yeah. 100.
Yeah. So filling that void.
Yes. I'm looking for me, looking for my identity, and then denying who you are.
Yep.
And just basically numbing, but also challenging your mores that you've been given. I will not conform to you still. This would not make you happy. I I reject you. That's all it was, right? Is that what the common thing you think you see? Like, I'm rejecting what they were trying to do, which I felt was trying to suppress me and marginalize and control me.
Yeah.
And so you're rejecting that with alcohol. And I stopped smoking marijuana because I had a bad high. I didn't dig it. So I was doing everything else. My friends, some of my friends in Columbia, Missouri, were heroin users. First thing I ever shot was Dilaudid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First thing you ever shot was Dilaudid? Wow. What was that like?
Some magic, I don't want to romanticize it. But I wanted to do it because I always knew I would.
Yeah.
I'd read a bunch of books with Basketball Diaries, stuff like that.
Yep.
Junkie by come on, Dave. One of the old beatniks. On the Road was a big book for me. William Burroughs wrote Junkie, all that stuff. Fear and Loathing on the So all those books were in my milieu, if you would, and so those are the things you're curious of, and so I did it. I never did it 2 days in a row. Never. I was never hooked, which was good. But I tried everything. I tried heroin. I tried Dilaud. Dilaud was the first, and I didn't know it was going to happen. It just came up. We were in someone's house where their parents were watching the Bears. It was the Bears Miami.
You'll never forget that day.
Right? It's crazy. We're in his laundry room. I'm like, what if your mom walks in my head and he's administering, right?
Yeah. And
you're like, okay. And then now you're thinking like, don't they notice the change in these two boys?
He's just a diabetic. That's all.
So yeah, he had all the diabetic needles, whatever, blah. And so that was that first one, but I never did it 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
So I never got, like, my buddies got hooked, but they were had been back and forth with different, runs of one buddy. My buddy has been in and out of prison for years, just in prison again. Yeah. So, yeah.
So you then eventually get on to Saturday Night Live. Right. How does that happen?
Well, I then moved to Chicago, and then by the time I'm in Chicago, I'm poor, so the drug use is way down. There's no drug use actually in Chicago. I'm sure there was occasional mushrooms, stuff like that. But not even binging, because it was just straight out drinking all the time. For sure, alcoholic, you live for it. And so I was taking classes at the Second City and the Improv Olympic. I was dedicated, man. I was 100% dedicated, working restaurant jobs and all that stuff. But I was on stage 5 nights a week, either in class or doing shows. That was my life, and that was my passion. And I was surrounded by a bunch of people who had that same passion and a huge bunch of talent. The time I was in Chicago, there's never been a time like it before or since, when you had this number of amazing people who are going to make it in show business. I should have the list. There's about 40 people that I could name who made it, and they were all incredible. From Stephen Colbert to Stephen Carell to Steve Carell to his wife Nancy, to Adam McKay, to John Glazer, to Brian Stack, to Brian McCann, all these writers on all these different late night TV shows, to Rachel Dratch, Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, Tim Meadows, Mike Myers, Chris Farley, and I started together. Sorry about that.
You're good.
So good. Yeah, the list goes on and on and on of all these talented people that I was there with, and you don't realize, like, no, this is once in a life of that particular theater. This will never happen again. And so I was very fortunate to be there during that time. And I knew I was going to be at SNL. I never had one doubt in my mind. You don't tell people. Of course, if you're at SNL, at Second City, everyone wants that anyway. So you bide your time. And little by little, you make more and more headway. And then they eventually came to Chicago one year to scout, and they saw me, and then I auditioned twice. And then you get called back for your third meeting, and then you get the job.
What was that experience like?
Well, I didn't, it's the weirdest thing. I wasn't nervous because I knew. It's the weirdest thing.
You were ready.
It was mine. I'd already decided that's where I'm supposed to be. Now, it took 9 years to get there in Chicago because I was drunk and not focused. I never wrote it down. What's your plan? Write this down. My plan was just keep doing what you're doing all the time. To get there, had you written it down, a real plan, I'd cut it in half. And then I would have stayed on the show for 6 years. But I'll tell you this, when I got the show, I thought the show, it was lacking. And I thought, I'm not going to stay here for more than 3 years, because you get a 6-year contract. So I decided I'm going to stay for 3 years. I'm going to go. Now, as they say, the universe hears you. All it heard was, I'm going to go. So I had 1 year on that show. It's very successful. It's the weirdest thing not in the world, but the weird thing. Like, I was let go after a year, and I had a very successful season. I had pissed 2 guys off, and gosh, I want to say their names, but everyone says don't say people's names. There were 2 people. One was a writer executive, and the other was an executive at NBC. And I was told that they were the ones who had engineered my demise. Lauren wanted to keep me.
Are you allowed to share what they pay per 6-year contract?
Yeah. I think was it $6,500 per show back then? Yeah. I don't have it in front of me. That's my recollection.
That was good money for you.
Of course. I had no expenses.
Yeah.
And so you're up to four shows a week. A week, a month. Yeah, so it's good money.
Yeah,
I had money in the bank after the end of it, and then your residual payment for each one is going to be $3,500. So yeah, it was good money. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So was Austin Powers after that? You were on Austin Powers.
Dude, I was in everything. I did one day on that because I was friends kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or Jay, who's the director, just had me in for a day. That was easy. You know, so after, a lot of people don't get a goodbye interview with Lauren. I did. I was very fortunate. And by the way, when I was in SNL, I was not sober. We'd go out hard on Wednesday nights. Wednesday nights, we do the table read, and then we'd all go out and drink and decide, and we'd wait to see what sketches got picked up for that week. Mm-hmm. And then you either go back to work or you go back to drinking or whatever. But a lot of guys that were there, we went hard. Yeah.
Now, you had said you pissed a few people off at Saturday Night Live.
Two guys.
Do you think that was a direct result of your drinking?
No, that's just my personality. I mean, as you can tell, I have a big impulsive personality.
Do you?
Yes, I know, right? Surprise. And so, I think the insistence is probably the thing that puts a lot of people off, but I can't change it. Yeah. I guess I can, but that's just part of who I am. You either take it or whatever. Yeah. I'll just run this bolt until the lightning fades when I'm 92. Yeah. But pretty much what I've decided.
Where do you go from there after Saturday Night Live?
So I got an exit interview with Lauren, which most people don't. Especially if you're not been brought back. But Lauren liked me. Yeah. He really did. He gave me some advice. He said, Dave, you're on the radar. People like you. You'll be fine. And I was. I went out to moved to Los Angeles. Started working right away. I got what they used to have, these holding deals. So they give you a nice fat chunk of money and they're going to develop a show with you. And so I got several of those in a row. And then I started working immediately. TV, movies. I don't know if you've seen my IMDb page. Well, how many do I have there, Mike? I think 215 credits. So 200, that's the number of credits. Now, a number of credit is one show, or like if you're on the Office is one credit. That's one. So if you're on a TV show for 5 years, that's still one credit.
Okay, so they don't even give it to you like either per episode, per year,
that's not a separate credit.
Season.
That's one credit.
Wow.
That's 216, and I've got more coming up. But anyway, so yeah, so those
Half Baked. You were that's
the second one. It was the sequel. It's not. Some things aren't impressive. Some are. Some aren't. But they're there, and that's funny to me because that's not even up to date. That's wild. So I have more than 216, but so far they've got 216 listed. Upcoming 4, so that'll move. 6 upcoming.
Final Destination, the final one?
No, I was in.
That counts it. Okay.
I was in Final Destination 5, so not the most recent one, because you die in Final Destination, so you can't come back. I guess you come back as a ghost, which has never happened, so they missed that opportunity. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, I've been very, very blessed in that, like, this is work ethic right there. I'm just going to keep working. Yeah. Now here's the wild thing. I had a goal to be on SNL. Got it. Did I make another, then my next goal was just, I want to be working all the time, and I wanted to be good I wanted the respect of my peers. Mm-hmm. And now that's kind of a philosophical goal. Not a specific one. Yeah. Those help, folks. Please have specific goals, because then you know when you get there. Idealistic goals can happen, but it doesn't pay us much, and the reward is its own reward, I guess. Yeah. Right.
What was Anchorman like, and how did you get on that movie?
Well, I had known Adam McKay since 1990. We were both at Second City together, and he and I got hired at SNL the same year. Okay. He became head writer the same year. Brilliant. I don't know if I know a more brilliant mind than Adam McKay. Just amazing human being. Just crazy, brilliant, smart, funny, sweet, kind, lovely guy. And so he, myself, and Tom Giannis got hired, and Nancy Walls-Carell. And so we were buddies and we worked together there, and then I got off and then whatever. And then so he leaves the show. He was head writer the next year, and I forget how many years he's on it. Then they starts writing movies. He'd written a couple that didn't go anywhere. And then they wrote Anchorman. And of course, Will and I were hired the same day on SNL. So I auditioned for Anchorman. ego-wise, I was like, okay, but I didn't realize the business construct. They couldn't hire me, so I auditioned, and it got down to me and 4 other guys for the role. And they were smart enough to know, don't tell the producer we want this guy. And so they watched the VHS tapes, because back then it was VHS, and they popped it in. And I remember they told me that the producer said, "Why not that guy?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay, because you can't play whatever." So they called me. They said, "We can't really officially do this because your agent's going to call you, but we wanted to call you because we're so excited." So I auditioned. That's how I got it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was as much fun as you can have doing anything.
Did things significantly change for you after that movie?
Yes. You'll probably, if you looked, you'd see just tons and tons of movies then. Yeah.
It's funny because that's when I knew your name after that movie. And then I'm like, holy shit, he was in this, this, and this prior to Anchorman.
Right.
And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. I was always working since I moved out here. I was very, very fortunate. Yeah.
Where's your drinking at during the Anchorman days?
Heavy. Let's see. Did I slow down? Probably didn't drink every night. If I did, it'd be 1 or 2, not to drunk.
Yeah.
I can't remember. So by this time, this is 2003 and 4, had 2 kids. Yeah. Now, I've said this before. I had a tough marriage, and she was an alcoholic, and so was I. And so that you're just doing maintenance drinking. You're socially drinking, but I'm going to drink hard on the weekend probably.
Yeah.
Probably every time I drank, I probably got drunk.
Yeah.
I said 2 a night. I don't know. Maybe I had 4. That's drunk. So yeah.
Did you ever stop and have a moment where you were like, maybe my drinking is getting out of hand right now?
Yeah.
Should I stop? Should I try controlled drinking? Did you ever try that?
Many times. I tried to get drunk. I tried to get sober for probably 20 years.
Okay.
But not getting in there. Let's see. I probably went to my first meetings 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. But what happens is if you don't have a strong sponsor or whatever, it's so hard to get sober, as you know. And it's nearly impossible. Until I never wrote it down. The power of writing something down cannot be overstated.
I would never put pen to paper.
Back then.
Yeah, before I got sober.
Yeah.
I was too prideful, my ego. I don't need to do that. I'm different from them.
I'm an angel.
I'm better than them.
Yes.
I never said I'm better than them out in my head, but it was in the back of my head.
Right. Your ego tells you, yeah.
And
smart.
I can get a sponsor, but I don't need to work steps. I don't need to look at myself.
Right.
I can just go to meetings all the time. That'll help keep me sober. And then the thought pops in, well, I'm going to self-help meetings that pertain to alcohol. I could smoke weed.
Wow.
I could smoke weed a little bit.
Yeah,
no one will know.
Yeah.
And then eventually I go back to a drink. Oxycontin was my thing.
Wow.
I played football in college, tore my rotator cuff, and had 2 surgeries.
Defensive back.
I was a D-back.
Okay.
You did your homework on me.
No, I'm just looking at your frame.
Okay.
Sorry.
I thought I was big time.
I'm looking at your frame.
No. It's crazy. I'm actually tall for a DB. I'm 6'2".
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm white.
But the boy's got wheels.
So I got hooked on Oxycontin. But
in college?
This was in college.
Gosh.
Yeah. And then...
How long did that last? I know you told me, but anyway.
How long?
I don't want to bore your listeners.
No, you're good. Okay. I would say the pills, the oxy opiate pills, probably about 12 years of my life.
Wow.
But during that 12 years, it was back and forth. I would go to a meeting. I would get 3 or 4 months, fully clean and sober, but it would be that pink cloud time, but I would never do the work on myself, or I would never follow through with the step work. I would do steps 1, 2, 3. And then when it came for the audience, 4, 5, you start to look at yourself.
3 months. Dude, it's the same for me. 3 months and then you fall.
Yep.
Why? It's a pretty common thing, but yeah, go ahead.
It's that pink cloud.
Yeah.
It's it's something new. I'm the king of half measures.
Yep.
I'm the king of half measures. I could start something. I'm all in, gung ho, pink cloud. It's something new. I get a high off of that. And then it comes time to actually do the work. And I'm like,
Yep. Yep.
I'm good. And then I go out and then I start justifying. And then I start, I can go out and hang out with the same friends and I can do this and then I can smoke weed. I could have one drink and then it turns into I can do one Oxycontin 80 and no one will know. Dave, no one will know.
Everyone knows this. No one will know is the bargain. No one will know is the addict's bargain.
And I'll still have 105 days sober tomorrow because I'm just not going to tell anyone.
That's right.
It never ends up that way.
Oh, yep.
So that's the way it was for 12 years for me.
Wow.
So
were you always trying to get sober those 12 years or pretending to be sober?
Yeah, I had a cousin who got so clean and sober. He'd celebrated a year when it was like my senior year of college. And I saw how bad he was.
Okay.
And I saw him transition to this just new person. He found a new way to live.
Yeah.
And I knew it was possible. And then I chased that. I knew he brought me to my first meeting.
Wow.
And then it was just that back and forth. And then it was rehabs. Then it was outpatient. Then it was everything under the sun. And I just couldn't get it. I wasn't willing to turn my life over.
Question. Were your rehabs, were they 12-step rehabs?
They
don't.
Yes, they were because they would bring meetings in. They weren't preaching 12 steps, but they would bring the meetings in.
Don't you agree that's the only thing that can do it is 12-step?
For me, that was the only thing that helped me.
I mean, I did rehab 3 times and they brought meetings in, but it wasn't part of the curriculum. And it's a failure to me. Yeah. Like you dry out. So what? Then I'm going to leave and drink again. Unless I've got a sponsor waiting.
Yep.
You know?
So you have 20 years back and forth.
Back and forth. And then one year I did it by myself with resolve. I just quit. Yeah.
1 year.
That was 15 years ago, maybe. Yeah. Quit. I was like, wow. And then I was talking to a friend of mine who was sober, a female. And I said, I feel so great. I think I'm going to have a drink. And she goes, Dave, why do you think you feel great? I said, because, I'm good. And she didn't argue with me. She mentioned it because she's smart, because you can't change an alcoholic.
No.
Why do you think you feel so good? And I had success during that time, and then you go back slowly. Just have one, and boy, it feels good, doesn't it? And whatever. But yeah, I tell you what, some things are possible when you're sober. Everything's when you're drinking. Everything's possible when you're sober. But real personal satisfaction is not possible when you're drinking. It's not. Real happiness, to me, is not possible if you're drinking or if you're an addict, because it's all a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the greatest feelings that I ever had that I chased for so long, I had maybe 20 to 30 days sober this time. So about 7.5 years ago, my sponsor comes to me and he's like, listen, you're going to get a commitment at this meeting. So I'm like, fuck, I gotta fucking help out. Like what? So I go to the business meeting and I go there. I'm like, I need a commitment. And they're like, all right, great. You're going to greet. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like I'm not chairing the meeting or managing the money or anything important. They're like, no, you're going to greet. So I greet week 1. Welcome to, I'm like, fuck them. I'm going to be the best greeter they've ever seen. Welcome. Next week I go back, show up early. Welcome. And this guy with like 20 years sober walks up. He goes, Kevin, you have 27 days today. I'm so happy you're back. And he knew who I was from that point on. And I felt a part of. Wow. Finally. And that feeling that I got was the feeling I was chasing through using drugs and drinking for those 12 years.
Someone saw you.
Someone saw me. It was the most beautiful thing in the world.
Boy, we don't see ourselves. Yep. We're searching for someone to see us. Now it goes back to your question earlier. Why did it start? I wasn't seen. There it is. I wasn't seen. And you can either see yourself or you can hope someone else sees you. There it is. That's the whole bottle. That's the whole fucking bottle, isn't it?
And the Coke and the Oxys.
God damn it, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Just look at yourself. It's okay. You see you if no one else will. Look in the mirror and say, I see me. And I got you, right? It's okay.
Yeah.
Now, and then you say to yourself, I just thought this. If you look in the mirror and say, I see me, it's going to be okay. And you say to yourself, someone else is going to see me today. I'll bet you they will. Right? Don't you think that's going to happen?
You have to see yourself first.
Yes.
There's
Truly.
fear.
Truly see yourself, not go, I'll see myself, and then be codependent.
Yeah, right. Fill that void with some codependency. It's crazy because what scared me away from looking at myself for so long was this fear that I had in my head from the guilt and shame for all the things that I did. And then once I looked at myself, I realized I'm not that bad of a person. I'm not a bad person. Yeah. I mean, listen, I fucked up, right? And I've done some shit that has offended people and wrong
offending
things.
people is okay. Hurting someone is different.
I've hurt people.
Okay.
And in this process, we get to make amends. We get to right those wrongs and clean up our side of the street. And then I started to realize I'm not really all that bad of a person.
No, comparatively, no.
I'm very hard on myself too.
Well, that's fine. That's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
That's why we're alcoholics in the first place. I really believe that all alcoholics are angels. I really do. And our wings are trimmed by somebody, clipped by somebody else, and we're trying to grow our wings again, and we think booze is going to grow those wings out.
Yeah.
Most alcoholics, I think, are angels. They just don't belong in the same herd, the same crowd. That's why we create this own crowd on our own path, and it's okay. Your purpose, you're out of your purpose. And you didn't know what to do. You got pushed out of your purpose by your family or whatever circumstance. So you reached for the bottle. That's what I see all the time. Don't you see that same thing?
Yeah.
You got pushed out of your purpose.
Yeah.
Or no one would let you have it or whatever. And you reach to become like them. Because most of us that are alcoholics aren't like them. We're different. Why would we torture ourselves so much? Why would we punish ourselves? It's, you know what it is? It's lashes. It's old biblical lashes. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And we are. And you are. So put down the bottle, put down the lash, and just become yourself. That's the fear. Well, our fear is failure, right? Yes. Yeah.
It's crazy you're saying that. And you were on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
You were on
Not good enough.
Anchorman, The Office. Like, you've accomplished things. And I'm saying this for the listener who hasn't accomplished those things. And they're sitting there saying, I'm not good enough. And then here you are. Yep. You've accomplished things that no one will ever accomplish in their life. And you were still saying it to yourself. The disease of addiction and alcoholism does not discriminate.
Right. Yeah. It welcomes all.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's an easy slope.
It is.
Yeah, come on down here. The bottom's nice, warm. Yeah, it smells.
Just one time.
Just one time.
So COVID hits. Yep. 2021. You have a run-in with the law.
Yeah, how about it?
How was that? What happened?
First of all, I'd been sober for 6 months. I tell the story in my show. I've been sober for 6 months. Had a girlfriend at the time. Actually, the way I met her is because I was taking disulfiram, which is Antabuse, and I said I need someone to make sure I take it. Because with Antabuse, it's a pill you take that creates does not allow the liver to process alcohol, so you'll throw up violently, and you don't want to test it. So, but if you take it and then you don't take it for a week, you can drink again. But like I've been taking it for so long now, I could never get off. Well, I have a fail-safe now. I have a buddy of mine I take it with every day, a guy who I've known for more than 40 years, one of my best friends. And I either send him a video or I do a video chat with him. And
Accountability.
I take the pill. Yes, 100.
That's amazing.
And he will never, ever let me miss. Now, at this point, if I take it every third day, there's no way. So if it's in your system this much, like it is with me, you wouldn't, it would take probably, I'm guessing, a month to get off of it. And that will never happen in my life.
Yeah.
I know that because Wes is going to go, pilly dilly.
Send it.
Where's my pill? What's going on? I mean, that's I think that's the most it's ever been, like 3 days. It's kind of like the thing like, oh, I didn't even notice it because I don't think about it. I don't think about booze. When I take that pill, I don't think about booze. Now, a lot of you might say in recovery, that's cheating. No, that's where I am. That's how hardcore I am. If I don't take that pill, I'm susceptible. Do you know? Yeah. Like all the meetings in the world, all the accountability in the world, but that thing, it's a gate. You can't drink. So I don't think about it. So there's no scheming, no planning, none. Because you can't. So anyway, yes, during COVID. So I'd been sober for 6 months. It was tough. And got there. And then guess what I did? What a lot of alcoholics do. I want to change my sobriety date. I want to change it to January 1st. The addicts do this. You've heard of this.
I've done it like a million times.
I want to change my sobriety date. Why? Why? So I drank early in the day because I was supposed to go to a party that night with my girlfriend. And I drank it early in the day. I was just going to sit home, get sober, watch the news. Fun, easy. Then my ex called, triggered me, had to go somewhere, drove, got a 4-shot latte thinking I can drive. Woo! Got lit up. You know, now I look back on it, the thing is, I didn't tell her I can't drive right now because I didn't want to hear that shit from the divorced person I had divorced. I was in the middle of divorcing still. And that was always a trigger. And I didn't want to admit failure to her for the fear of having her lord over me with it, right? Rather than being accountable to me or calling my sponsor and saying she wants me to drive and I shouldn't drive. And he said, then you call her and say you've drank and you can't drive. But no, you hide, right? You hide and you lie and you scheme. I can drive. I'm fine now. But, half an hour from now, you're going to be really drunk. And I got pulled over and it made TMZ. Now, how much shame do your 5 kids have? They've coped with this stuff. They're pretty good. Like well, whatever. They don't shame me with it. They hope for me. You know? And then what happens? So then the battle in the courts, all the shit. I say this in my stand-up because I talk about it. I said, the irony was I drank for 50 years. No DUI. Stopped drinking for 6 months. Drink DUI. I always say this terrible joke. So I got out of practice, number one, which is a bad joke. I know mad. They call me asshole of the week or scumbag of the week. And they're right. And I'll make amends to Mothers Against Drunk Driving in any way you want. And then TMZ gets a hold of it, which is like, I've been so nice to them so many times at the airport. And then here's my joke. Betty White died that day. Can't we focus on that? Why do we have to? No one cares about Koechner. Let's focus on Betty White. Who cares about this B list actor? Maybe C, maybe B minus C plus. No. Let's watch anyway. So then I'm sober again for 6 months. And then I had to, so this is still during COVID, kind of, right? Comedy clubs aren't fully open. So I was doing Comic-Cons because comedy clubs are only half full. There's not a lot of work in show business. So I was doing Comic-Cons and I'm such a good guy, so codependent. My plane was late coming from Charlotte to get me to West Virginia on time. So I decided I'll be a good soldier to make sure I make the Comic-Con. I'll fly myself to Cincinnati, then drive 2.5 hours to West Virginia, right? So I'm doing this to be nice for everybody else, not for me. Not seeing me, seeing what everybody else wants from me. Talked to the ex-wife that day. Trigger. Drank on the plane. I wasn't doing the Antabuse at the time. Drank on the plane. I don't know how many drinks I had, to be honest. I don't know how many. I would have had double vodkas. I'm going to say 3, maybe 4. But I land around midnight. I get my rental car. No one says, no way, sir. So I was, didn't seem impaired. Then I drove, pulled over to a gas station. Thought I'll have another drink. Dumb. Bought a tall boy of an IPA. Start driving. I said, this is dumb. I threw it out the window. Was the window open?
Oh, no.
No. No. So what happens? Oh, it gets in the car. So then I open the window, and throw it out. So there's nothing in there but the smell. I am 3 miles from my destination, my hotel. I had driven for 2.5 hours. So you can decide whether or not you think I was too impaired to drive, but it doesn't matter. And then I'm looking at my phone to find the hotel. So I crossed the fog line a little bit, get lit up. I didn't see them. And then they smell the car and the beer I failed to throw out properly. Now, I admit I was littering. America. And that's where they are. Then they go, I think I know this guy. So that's all fun for them. And I passed the field sobriety test as far as I could tell. And then I go to, they take me to the station. I'm a little confused. I'm like, what's going on here? I thought things were good. And then the guy says, do you want to take a breathalyzer? I said, I don't know. He says, well, my guess is you don't have to drive in Ohio for the next 2 years. I said, okay. He goes, well, that's the thing. If you say no to a sobriety, to a breathalyzer, you can't drive in Ohio. So, I'm thinking that's the only consequence. Mm-hmm. He didn't finish the sentence. You'll also be given an automatic DWI, driving while impaired. Mm. Now, looking back, I should have just said, I need to see a lawyer right away. Mm-hmm. That's what you should always do these days because of the state we're in. I'm not going to talk to anybody. I want to see a lawyer. Mm-hmm. I'm going to sit here until the lawyer gets here. And what can they do? Drag you out? Now, so the consequences, tens of thousands of dollars, folks, tens of thousands of dollars. And here's what's going to hurt you worse. Hours and hours and hours and hours of DUI class. Did you ever have a DUI?
No, never.
God bless you. 18 months of DUI class.
Oh my God.
2 hours at a time.
How many a week?
Well, one a week, but still it's 2 hours.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Were you able to do it online?
No. Well, it's a Zoom class. Yes, it is a Zoom because that's
But still, that's a.
Sometimes I'm out of town. I got to do it Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's Tuesday evenings. Whatever it is, you got to, and you can't. You've just got to commit all that time, which is great, which you should, because you're there too with everybody else, and you're like, hey, and you hear everybody's story. And it's like, you see the inequities in the system too, which is not a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Yeah.
But whatever. So that's my story. And yeah.
So following this incident, was that the last time you drank?
I had 4 months sober after that one. That would be in June 2022. So that's within 6 months, I got 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Then I was sober for 4 months. And then I think I drank 1 night or 2 nights. So you lose your sobriety.
Of course.
Then I went on a series of 3 months at a time.
Yeah.
Every 3 months, basically. I'd get 3 months, had a sponsor, get 3 months. And then, why? And it's all, I wouldn't call my sponsor. Dude, come on. And then I go back to not drinking. So then what are you having? I'm not even having good runs, as they say in alcoholism. Yeah. How long was your run?
Yeah.
And then I'd have, 5 months. I'd get to 5 months. And then it's like, whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
That's awesome. Well.
But anyway, I can say, can we be certain? My buddy's never going to let me out a check, which is great. Mm. And I've got a girlfriend now too. And she can drink and I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
All you think this is boring. Why would you drink?
Yeah.
I get it. And I will recognize, I don't know if you do, sometimes a drink would feel good right now, but it feels better to be sober than a temporary folks, a temporary drink where you get bloated and fat and heavy, and it hurts your cells, all of them, and your brain, and it diminishes what's possible in your life.
Yeah.
And your happiness.
What tools have you implemented today other than, do you still take Antabuse?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll never stop.
That's amazing.
No, I'll never stop. Like that, it's about every 3 days now.
Yep.
But and I have a very good doctor, so you have to watch your liver too, because it can impact your liver, that particular pill.
Yeah. Are you going to meetings nowadays?
As often as I can. I'll do online too.
Yeah.
I'm traveling in 52 weeks this year. I know. There's a men's meeting on Wednesday nights, and it's one with some particular higher profile people in show business, and I can never make it. And I was like, I should probably just go, because I'm gone on Wednesdays. I should just go, hey, I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
This right now makes me want to go to a meeting, which is good.
Well, you could watch my podcast now on the road. It counts as a meeting.
Trust me.
And if your sponsor has any issues with it, you could have him call me.
He won't.
And I will.
He won't. He'll love it. He'll love it. How do we get, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
How do we get to the point where I want to go to a meeting? Because that's the big hurdle a lot of times.
So I used to hate going to meetings. I now love going to meetings. And in the beginning, I used to always look at it as if it's for me. And it is. It's always for you at the end of the day. But I started shifting my perspective as to why I go to meetings. And I go to meetings and I don't just share to sound good or, roses and bullshit.
No ego.
I go in there and I talk about, how bad I was and like what my true experience was. I'm not in there trying to save my, look good or sound good, or I put myself out there because I go to meetings now today to help a newcomer. I go there so that when the Kevin who has one day is in that meeting, hears my experience and hears the feelings that I experienced during that time and can relate to me, it will help them.
Yeah.
So I try to be of service. That's how I've kind of shifted my perspective. And now I really enjoy going because I just want to help someone.
Of service. It's a responsibility, and it's not the ego. There's a book. Brian Holiday is a guy who's been the curator of the Stoics. I don't know if you're ever reading anything by the Stoics. It's beautiful stuff. Ryan Holiday. He's got the Daily Stoic. He's got Marcus Aurelius's writings. He's written a book called "Ego is the Enemy," and it is. And whenever you're having resistance to something, it's probably your ego, right? Either it's a fearful ego or prideful ego.
Yeah.
If you ever break down the 7 deadly sins, you're probably, when you're out of position, you're probably participating in one of the 7 deadly sins in some way.
Yeah.
And you go, I don't have to do that. When you can do the comparison, like, I'm participating in this. When you're mad that someone cut you off in traffic, that's pride.
Yeah.
Because, you think you're better than me? Now I'm angry? I'm mad? It's pride and it might be greed. Look up the 7 deadly sins, folks. Memorize them. And when you're upset about anything, figure which one of these 7 deadly sins am I participating in?
Yep.
Yes.
It's funny. I live in Florida now and I moved there about 3.5 years ago.
It's the 8th deadly sin, living in Florida.
So, it is a fucking interesting place. Let me tell you. So in New York, people don't have guns in New York. You can't have them in New York City.
Yeah.
And I go down there and of course it's that prideful fear. Someone cuts me off and I start jawing at them. Yeah. Road rage. Someone pulls a fucking gun on me.
Wow.
That was the last time I ever did that.
Wow.
I got humble real quick.
You have a daughter.
I have a daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
But honestly, I'm a huge bitch.
We all are. We all are.
I just want to, but it's all that ego, that pride, that fearful ego.
Yep.
That defense mechanism.
And when you get past it, you're stronger.
Yes.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yep.
It's okay to go back to acceptance with yourself, looking at yourself and who you really are.
And thinking, what's the fear I'm participating in right now? There's the 4 different types of fear. Which one of those fears am I participating in? And then you can release yourself from it.
Yep.
It's pretty simple math when you do the simple math of why am I doing what I'm doing? Because gosh darn it, you are good enough. And I know that's the thing from Stuart Smiley on SNL, but he co-opted some wellness stuff. But you are good enough. And they're making fun of it, which is too bad.
Yeah.
Say, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, I'm something. But it's true.
Yep.
Everyone does belong. Everyone on this earth should get a chance.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And, if you've never been given a chance, that's why people turn bad.
Yeah. If you had to give one piece of advice to the listener who is right now in the grips and lost identity, not really sure what to do, where to go, what would that piece of advice be?
All right, let me think here. Happiness can be easy. And happiness is sobriety. Swear to God. Swear to God. I've never been happier. And I'm going to cry. And here's the other thing I'll say. Everything is possible in sobriety. Some things are possible when you're in addiction, but everything is possible when you're sober. All of your dreams. Every dream can come true, but not if you're not sober. That's a double negative, and Mike's going to give me an English class after this. But
he just pulled it up on the screen for you. No,
but I would say I think trying to come up with one. I think everything's possible in sobriety. I guess that would be it. Mm-hmm. And happiness is not that far away. Mm-mm. I mean, you could, but also I'd say this: write it down. Write it down. Now, I used to write a list of 30 New Year's resolutions, and I'd get a lot of them.
30?
Yeah, just me. That's just my mind. I'm impulsive.
You're an alcoholic, man.
Oh, yeah, I know. Now, I didn't do that this year. This year, I decided to do one at a time. Number one is sobriety. Maintain sobriety, number one. Number two, from the Stoics, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. What's that mean?
Listen.
Did I do it today? No. So have I gotten to my second New Year's resolution? No. And we're darn near 6 months. So work on it. Write it down. Are you going to, write this thing down? Kidlin's Law. I always say this 1,000 times. Kidlin's Law. If you write down a problem clearly, it's half solved. Hey, alcoholic out there, addict, write down, how can I get sober? And then walk away from it. You don't have to do it like anybody else. You don't have to do it like anybody has ever done it. Now, the reason people that do it are successful because they model their life on somebody else, and that's what I'd suggest you do. But you're probably out there rejecting everything anyone's ever told you. Good for you. You're right. How about that? You're right, and I see you. Now, you do it your way. Now, but you have to do it in a way that works. That's the only caveat. You can't do it your way. You can't go California sober. I'm going to get high. That ain't sobriety. So what do you want? Maybe write that down. And if you don't know what you want, write down, what do I want? And I'll bet you what you want will include sobriety. If you find out I want happiness, because it makes us so unhappy. Mm. I mean, the booze, it's a temporary lie that you're happy. And boy, how happy are we when I'm a big happy guy. When people see you drunk and happy, they're immediately turned off because you're not real. You're not real.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah, he's drunk.
Yep.
You're dismissed.
The full circle moment. This guy's got knowledge, man. Holy shit. Really quick before we wrap up, what was it like working with Will Ferrell on Anchorman?
It's always a blessing. So all those guys, I mean, look, Will's the best. Jerry Collins is a good friend of mine and a good friend of Will's. And we would sometimes go, where's the ceiling on this guy? There isn't one. He's magical. And I love it. And he's joyful, and he's a beautiful human being, and he's just got so much talent. And you might have that much too. And all it takes is get out of your way. Will's not in his way. Will's not in his way. He just let it. It's almost like he's doing it. I don't see much ego with Will. That's me. I don't see it. I never see ego. It's not about him. It's about the doing of this thing. I mean, I'm not to say he doesn't have it, but I just see him just having this joyful blessing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate you taking time.
Right on.
Holiday
Anytime.
weekend. And
I appreciate you for giving me all these meetings that I can now watch.
Yeah, of course. I got you covered for the 52 weeks you're on.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh, it's a podcast. I can listen to it in the car.
Yeah, you can listen to it. You can watch it.
You don't have to watch it. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, thank you again.
God bless you. Thank you so much for having me. And you can do it.
Thank you, brother.
There's two guys right here that did it.
Yes.
And dude, I was as hardcore. My sponsor once said, Dave, you're a hardcore alcoholic. And I'm sober right now.
As opposed to what? Not being?
Well, some guys are alcoholics. But I was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're shaking hands just for those that are listening. God bless.
I appreciate it.
Right on.